Welcome to the deep dive. We're getting straight into it today because we're looking at a scenario that is probably sitting front and center in your mind right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're talking about personal job hunting.
Hmm.
You know, pivoting your career and essentially securing your professional footprint in the year 2026.
Right. Because if you're out there looking for a new role right now,
Or angling for a promotion even.
exactly. Or maybe considering just stepping off the traditional corporate ladder entirely, you've probably already noticed that the old rulebook is just, well, it's gone.
It's completely on.
Yeah, it's been rewritten entirely by artificial intelligence.
And there's a tangible layer of anxiety in the professional world right now. I mean, you feel it.
Definitely. People are stressed.
But underneath that stress, there is an incredible opportunity. The mechanics of the job hunt have shifted. And today, we're decoding exactly how you can navigate those new mechanics to your advantage.
It really is a completely different environment out there. I mean, if you're approaching the job market using the exact same playbook from even, say, 3 years ago.
Like just spraying identical resumes into applicant tracking systems.
Yeah, exactly. Doing that and just hoping for a callback, if that's your strategy, you're operating at a severe disadvantage.
A huge one.
So the mission for our conversation today is to break down the 2026 job market specifically for you. We're going to examine how to position yourself, how to build a career moat that algorithms just can't cross.
I love that phrase, a career mode.
Right. And we're also going to look at how you might even bypass the conventional hiring pipeline altogether using the very tools that are causing so much of this industry disruption.
Exactly. And to do that, we've pulled together a really comprehensive stack of sources to ground our analysis today.
It's a heavy stack today.
It is. First up, we're looking at a detailed guide from Coursera that breaks down the top 9 AI-focused jobs right now, complete with the latest compensation benchmarks.
Which are wild, by the way.
Oh, they are staggering. We'll get to those. Second, we have a highly revealing 2026 report from Drexel University's LeBeau Center for Applied AI and Business Analytics.
Done in partnership with them. Precisely.
Yes, exactly. And this one surveys global data leaders on enterprise AI readiness. It really exposes some fascinating corporate vulnerabilities.
The stuff they admit to in this survey is kind of shocking.
It really is. Third, we're pulling insights from a complete 2026 AI digital transformation implementation guide aimed at business leaders. Fourth, we've got a great piece from II News featuring Christine Nintum.
Focusing on how to AI-proof your personal brand.
Yep. And finally, we're examining a breakdown of the new economics behind the one-person billion company startup model.
It is a really robust set of materials. And, if we look across all these sources, a very clear theme emerges.
Which is?
Securing a high-leverage role today isn't strictly about knowing how to code
Right.
or how to write a clever prompt for a language model. It's really about understanding the hidden pain points that massive corporations are dealing with behind closed doors.
The things they won't put in the job description.
Exactly. It's about establishing human trust when the internet is just flooded with automated noise. And ultimately, it's about leveraging AI to multiply your own personal output.
Okay, so let's start with the most direct route into this economy. Let's talk about the specific roles that are dominating the market right now.
The front door.
The front door, exactly. Coursera highlights 9 specific artificial intelligence jobs for 2026. And like I said, the compensation figures are notable.
That's putting it mildly.
They categorize these roles into 3 distinct buckets. You have the builders, the data wranglers, and the specialists.
Okay, let's look at the builders first.
Right. So in the builders bucket, you have the AI engineer with a median total pay of $149,000.
Wow.
Then the machine learning engineer at $159,000, and the software engineer at $148,000.
We really need to unpack the distinction between these titles.
Yeah, because from the outside looking in, they kind of blur together.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But to a hiring manager, they represent completely different operational needs.
How so?
Well, when we look at an AI engineer, we're talking about highly applied professionals. They aren't in a lab inventing new math.
Right.
They're taking existing machine learning models and integrating them into applications that actually help organizations operate more efficiently.
Oh, they're practical.
Very. They take the technology off the shelf and apply it to a real-world business problem, whether that's to cut costs or drive revenue.
Right, they're the implementation arm.
Hmm.
But then you have the machine learning engineer who sits a little deeper in the stack.
Yeah, they're under the hood a bit more.
Coursera notes that they research, build, and design the actual AI responsible for machine learning. They're the ones running the experiments, performing the statistical analyses, and, maintaining the underlying systems.
They essentially act as the bridge between the raw data science and the final application.
Okay, and then there's the software engineer. Now, some people might wonder why a traditional software engineer is listed as an AI job.
Right. It feels like an older title.
It does. But they are absolutely foundational here.
The role has completely mutated.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just deploy an AI model into a vacuum.
No.
You need exceptional software engineers to build the surrounding environment. The APIs, the user interfaces, the network control systems.
Right. The plumbing.
Exactly. They test and maintain the infrastructure that the AI lives inside. So if you're a software engineer right now, your job hasn't disappeared.
It's just shifted.
It's shifted toward optimizing environments for AI integration.
That makes total sense. The software engineer is essentially building the house the AI lives in.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, now let's move to the second category, the data wranglers. Coursera points to the data engineer with a median pay of $131,000 and the data scientist at $153,000.
These are the people handling the raw fuel of the entire industry.
The data.
Yes. The data engineers are the architects of the pipeline. They build the systems that collect, manage, and transform just messy, disparate data into something structured and usable.
Because raw data is usually a disaster.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Without them, the entire AI initiative just grinds to a halt.
And then the data scientists.
The guide clarifies that they're the ones figuring out what questions the organization should be asking in the first place.
Interesting.
Yeah, they build the predictive models to forecast patterns based on that clean data that the data engineers provided.
Okay, then we get into the third category, which is the specialists.
This is where the roles get highly, highly specific.
Yeah, you've got the robotics engineer at $141,000, blending mechanical, electrical, and computer science for manufacturing and medical applications.
Makes sense.
You have the natural language processing, or NLP engineer, at $113,000, designing systems for speech recognition.
Yep.
The computer vision engineer sits at $162,000. They extract actionable information from visual inputs.
Like self-driving cars.
Exactly. And finally, the highest compensated role on the entire list, the AI research scientist.
Bringing in a median pay of $192,000.
It's incredible.
It is. But the AI research scientist is an interesting contrast to the AI engineer we discussed earlier.
How do you mean?
Well, the research scientist operates in a highly theoretical space, usually within academia or like a dedicated corporate lab at a Google or a Meta.
Right.
They're the ones actually inventing the new algorithms. They're publishing papers and really pushing the boundaries of what neural networks can achieve.
So they're doing the new math.
Exactly. It's a completely different day-to-day reality than someone who is just trying to optimize a recommendation algorithm to boost quarterly sales.
Okay, but let's ground this for the listener who is actually trying to land one of these jobs today. The Coursera guide gets into the tactical side of the job hunt.
Right, the how to actually get hired part.
Yeah. They mentioned that most of these roles do look for a bachelor's degree, usually in computer science or math. Yeah. But here's the opening for career pivoters. For entry-level positions, companies are increasingly accepting associate degrees or just equivalent verifiable skills.
Which is a huge shift.
It is. The traditional 4-year gatekeeping is fracturing if you can prove you have the chops.
That is the key takeaway for you listening right now. Your tech stack and your portfolio are your primary currency.
What are they looking for specifically?
The sources highlight specific languages you need to be fluent in. Python is obviously non-negotiable.
Everyone knows Python.
Right. But they also heavily emphasize C++, Java, and R.
Let's pause there for a second. If I'm looking at my resume, why those specific languages? Why is an employer scanning for C++ in 2026 when Python gets all the hype?
It really comes down to deployment environments.
Yeah.
Python is incredible for development and writing the initial models because of its vast libraries. It's easy to write.
Right.
But Python is famously slow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. When a company needs to deploy an AI model to run on edge devices.
Like what?
Say, the computer vision system inside a self-driving car or a high-frequency trading algorithm. They often have to rewrite or optimize that code in C++ because it runs much closer to the hardware.
So it executes significantly faster.
Exactly. If you know both, you're telling the employer, I can build the model, and I can also make it run fast enough to be commercially viable.
That is a crucial distinction. The guide also mentions frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow.
Mm.
But the truly interesting part of the source material is the emphasis on some unexpected skills that give candidates a massive edge.
The differentiators.
Yes, they specifically point out the need for AI security knowledge.
Yes, and this is major. As AI models become deeply integrated into corporate infrastructure, their interfaces become prime targets for cyber attacks.
Like prompt injection.
Prompt injection, data poisoning, exactly.
Oh.
If you can walk into an interview and demonstrate that you don't just know how to build a model, but you know how to secure it against adversarial attacks.
You immediately separate yourself from the entire candidate pool.
Absolutely. You move from being just another developer to being a risk mitigator. And companies love risk mitigators.
The sources also highlight DevOps deployment techniques as a critical skill.
Exactly. Building a machine learning model locally on your laptop is, well, it's relatively straightforward nowadays.
Right.
But deploying that model into a live production environment where millions of users are pinging it simultaneously
While ensuring it doesn't crash the existing architecture.
is incredibly difficult. That's DevOps. Employers are desperate for people who understand continuous integration and continuous deployment,
CI/CD.
often called CI/CD, yes, in the context of machine learning.
So for someone trying to get their foot in the door, the Coursera guide suggests targeting junior roles, asking for under 3 years of experience.
Which can still be tough to find.
It can be. And if the resume filters are blocking you, they advocate for internships, freelance projects, or hackathons.
You have to build the portfolio.
And it's not just about practice. It's about building a tangible portfolio of deployed projects and networking with people who can bypass the ATS and hand your resume directly to a hiring manager.
Right. You really have to evaluate which of these three paths aligns with your strengths. Are you a builder who wants to ship products?
Or are you a wrangler who enjoys architecting data pipelines?
Or are you a specialist diving deep into theoretical research? Identifying your archetype is step one.
Identifying your archetype is the first step. But getting the offer isn't just about perfectly matching the job description on LinkedIn.
Not at all.
It's about understanding the underlying panic within the company you're interviewing with. We need to look past what the job titles say and examine what the companies actually need.
This is the hidden job market.
Yes. And the Drexel Precisely report, combined with the AI Digital Transformation Guide, pulls back the curtain on this in a major way.
This is where you find your true leverage in an interview.
Tell me about the Drexel survey.
So it polled over 500 global data and analytics leaders at large enterprises, and it uncovered what they refer to as a confidence reality gap.
A confidence reality gap.
I like that. Because from the outside, corporate America projects absolute certainty.
Oh, always. We're an AI-first company.
Exactly. 87% of these leaders claim they have the necessary infrastructure for AI. 86% say their teams have the required skills. 88% claim their data is ready for AI deployment.
It sounds like they have it all figured out.
But then later in the exact same survey, when they're asked to identify their primary obstacles to AI adoption, the narrative completely flips.
So they say.
42% cite technology infrastructure as a top challenge. 41% say skills are their biggest hurdle. 43% point to data readiness as their most significant barrier.
Wait, that's a complete contradiction.
Total contradiction.
They're telling the market they're ready, but internally they're admitting they don't have the infrastructure, the talent, or the data.
You have to ask why that disconnect exists.
Why is it?
The report suggests that when an executive says they are ready, they often mean they have a vendor contract signed. Or maybe a small pilot program running in one single department.
Right.
But that is miles away from enterprise-scale maturity. Having cloud storage doesn't mean you have the capability to operationalize AI across a 10,000-person organization.
So as a job seeker, this gap is your target.
Well, absolutely. You have to speak directly to this unvoiced anxiety during your interview.
The report gets granular about the specific skills they're lacking too. 51% of these leaders state that skills are their absolute top requirement for AI readiness.
Over half of them.
And they break down the talent deficit into 3 distinct areas. Let's go through them. First, 30% say their teams lack the ability to deploy AI at scale in a business environment.
Okay, that's the DevOps piece we talked about.
Right. Second, 29% say they lack expertise in responsible AI and compliance. And third, 28% report their teams cannot translate business processes and needs into AI solutions.
Let's dissect those 3 gaps because they form a perfect blueprint for how you should structure your resume.
Go for it.
Gap number 1, Deploying at scale. They don't want someone who just builds isolated algorithms on their laptop.
They need scale.
They need someone who understands enterprise architecture. Gap number 2, compliance and responsible AI.
That sounds like an HR thing.
A lot of people think that. They think it's about ethics in a philosophical sense.
Right.
But it's not. It's about hard business risk. These executives are terrified of deploying a model that violates data privacy laws.
Oh, like GDPR.
Exactly. Or a model that produces biased outcomes that result in massive lawsuits, or simply hallucinates bad advice to a customer.
Which has happened.
It has. If you understand the regulatory landscape of AI, you are highly, highly valuable.
Okay, and what about that third gap? Translating business processes into AI solutions. That sounds less technical and more strategic.
It is entirely strategic. It's the role of the translator.
The translator.
Yes. Companies have brilliant software engineers and they have brilliant marketing directors. But those two groups speak completely different languages.
That is so true.
The marketing director knows they have a customer churn problem. The software engineer knows how to build a predictive model, but neither knows how to articulate the project to the other. If you are the person who can sit in the middle, deeply understand the business KPI the marketing team needs to hit, and translate that into technical requirements for the engineering team.
You become the most important person in the room.
You really do.
That brings us to what might be the most critical insight in this entire deep dive.
The unicorn skill.
The unicorn skill. The issue that is quietly causing sheer panic in boardrooms across the world. The data quality crisis.
This is massive.
The Drexel report presents a statistic that should completely change how you approach your job hunt. Listen to this. 77% of organizations rate their own data quality as average, poor, or very poor.
Let that sink in.
Nearly 80% of major enterprises are admitting their internal data is a mess. And furthermore, poor data quality is cited as the #1 challenge to AI success by 64% of respondents.
This is the reality behind the curtain. Everyone wants to focus on generative AI and sophisticated neural networks. It's sexy.
It is sexy.
But AI is entirely dependent on its training data. If you feed a state-of-the-art model with the poor data that 77% of these companies admit they have,
The outputs will be disastrous.
it's the old garbage in, garbage out paradigm, but amplified to an enterprise scale where a hallucination could cost millions of dollars.
And the executives are waking up to this. The report notes that AI's lack of context regarding bad data means the old habit of fixing data errors downstream is no longer viable.
Right, because an autonomous agent will act on bad data instantly. It doesn't pause to check if the spreadsheet looks weird.
So how does a candidate use this? If I'm sitting in an interview for a machine learning role, how do I leverage the fact that their data is probably terrible?
You pitch yourself as the person who fixes the plumbing.
Okay.
While every other candidate is talking about the latest LLM they fine-tuned, you steer the conversation toward data governance. You ask them about their data integration strategies.
Right.
The report reveals that organizations average 897 different applications.
Wait, 897 applications?
Yes.
That's incredible.
But here's the kicker. Only 29% of those applications are integrated.
They have nearly 1,000 different software tools running, and 70% of them aren't talking to each other.
Exactly. They have marketing data in one silo, supply chain data in another, and customer support logs in a third.
That's a mess.
It is.
Huh.
So if you tell the hiring manager that your primary focus is building robust, real-time data pipelines to break down those silos and enforce rigorous data quality management before a single model is trained,
You are directly addressing their biggest nightmare.
you become their savior.
It's about proving you understand the foundation, and there's a financial metric to back this up. The report states that organizations that prioritize data governance and strong integration achieve a 10.3x return on investment from their AI initiatives.
10.3x.
Yeah, and those with poor connectivity, they only see a 3.7x ROI.
That's a massive difference.
It's huge.
And speaking of ROI, this is your final interview trump card.
Lay it on us.
The survey found that while 71% of organizations claim their AI projects are aligned with business goals,
Right.
69% actually struggle to measure that performance against tangible business outcomes.
Wow.
Only 31% have concrete metrics tied to key performance indicators. They are spending vast amounts of capital on AI, and nearly 70% of them can't definitively prove it's working.
That's terrifying for a CFO.
Terrifying. So if you go into the interview and say, I don't just write code, I design systems where the impact can be explicitly measured against core business KPIs.
You elevate yourself from a technical resource to a strategic partner.
Precisely. You shift the conversation from the technology itself to the business outcome that technology is supposed to achieve. You're offering them clarity in a very murky environment.
Okay, we need to address the underlying anxiety that accompanies all of this. The fear of replacement.
The big fear.
The constant narrative is that AI is coming for these exact jobs. What do the sources actually reveal about the threat versus the opportunity? I mean, are you studying for a career that software will perform in 3 years?
It's a valid question, but the quantitative data paints a picture of augmentation, not replacement.
Okay.
The WalkMe 2025 AI adoption statistics are very clear on this. Workers who possess AI skills are earning a 56% wage premium.
56%. That's over half your salary added on.
It is. And employees who actively integrate AI into their workflows see their wages increase twice as fast, and their skill sets evolve 66% faster than those who don't.
So the mandate for the job seeker is not to compete with AI.
No, it's to become an augmenter.
An augmenter. The Digital Transformation Guide provides some excellent real-world case studies of this. These are the exact types of industry examples you want to drop in an interview to show you understand the landscape.
Yes, show them you know what's happening out there.
Let's look at Clorox. They went through a $580 million digital transformation over 5 years.
Huge investment.
Massive. They integrated generative AI across their creative, product development, and marketing departments to analyze sentiment and test packaging. They successfully reduced creative production time from weeks down to hours.
From weeks to hours.
Yeah. But the crucial detail here is that they chose to prioritize workforce stability. They upskilled their existing staff to use these tools rather than conducting mass layoffs.
Which is smart.
Very smart. They wanted their people to be faster and more experimental, not redundant.
We see a similar philosophy at JP Morgan with their Koyan system.
Which stands for
Contract intelligence. It uses natural language processing to extract data and review complex commercial loan agreements. KIN effectively automates 360,000 hours of routine legal review every year.
360,000 hours. That's a lot of lawyers.
It is. But JP Morgan didn't fire their legal team. They utilized the massive reduction in manual reading to shift their lawyers toward high-value work.
Like what?
Complex judgment calls, strategic structuring, and building client relationships. Things the AI can't do. The machine absorbed the routine tasks, and the humans focused on the nuance.
Another great example is BMW.
I love this one.
Yeah. They implemented AI-powered computer vision on their assembly lines to inspect vehicle components in real time. It catches microscopic scratches or misalignments.
Stuff the human eye might miss.
Exactly. They saw a 60% reduction in vehicle defects. But the most interesting part of the BMW case is that they accelerated the implementation by using no-code AI tools.
That detail about no-code tools is vital for the listener.
Why?
Because you don't need a background in advanced computer science to be an augmenter. The democratization of AI means that domain experts, whether you're in manufacturing, HR, or finance, can leverage these systems.
Right.
The core concept employers are looking for is workflow augmentation. They want candidates who can audit their own daily responsibilities, identify the repetitive bottlenecks, and deploy off-the-shelf AI to automate them.
So apply this to your own situation right now. Look at your current daily tasks. How much of it could you automate?
A lot, probably.
Could you use tools to summarize your meeting transcripts, draft routine reports, or clean up data sets? If you can sit in an interview and explain how you used AI in your previous role to automate 30% of your routine work.
Which then allowed you to take on a strategic project that drove revenue.
Exactly. The hiring manager is going to see you as incredibly high leverage. You're demonstrating that you know how to scale your own productivity.
And that concept of scaling yourself brings us to a fundamental shift in how you secure your career.
Which is what?
Finding a job isn't just about pushing your resume out into the void anymore. It's about pulling opportunities toward you.
Inbound versus outbound.
Yes. In an environment where applicant tracking systems are just overwhelmed by AI-generated resumes, Your personal brand becomes your ultimate defensive moat.
Let's pull from the piece in II News featuring Christine Nintum. She outlines a strategy for AI-proofing your personal brand.
This is a great piece.
It really is. Her core argument is that in an era of constant disruption, the professionals who survive aren't just the ones working the hardest.
No, hard work isn't enough.
They are the most strategically visible. A strong personal brand, according to Nintim, is the only sustainable competitive advantage left.
The logic here is really driven by simple supply and demand.
Okay, break that down.
Generative AI has dropped the cost of content creation to near zero. Consequently, the internet is experiencing a flood of content.
A tsunami of it.
We have automated newsletters, infinite blog posts, and synthetic social media updates. The market doesn't need more generic information.
It's saturated.
Completely saturated. What it is starving for is clarity, verifiable authority, and human trust.
Human trust.
Yes, an algorithm can write a competent article on supply chain logistics, but it cannot replicate a human reputation built on years of executing real-world projects and forging authentic industry relationships.
Nintim provides a highly tactical 7-day kickoff plan to establish this brand, and I think it's really worth breaking down.
Let's go through it.
Day 1 focuses on clarifying your unique value. You have to craft a single, concise, personal value statement. The era of the generalist is over. You need to articulate precisely what problem you solve and who you solve it for.
To tie this back to our earlier discussion about enterprise gaps, a weak value statement would be, I'm a data engineer looking for new opportunities.
Very generic.
Very. But a strong, highly targeted value statement would be, I help enterprise healthcare providers architect secure data pipelines so their AI initiatives maintain strict compliance.
Oh, that's good.
See the difference? That second statement speaks directly to a specific executive's pain point.
Exactly. Now, day 2 is audit your visibility channels. Nintim is very clear on this. Stop spreading yourself across every platform.
Yes, please.
You don't need to be on X, Instagram, and TikTok if you're looking for a corporate role. She advises concentrating your efforts intensely on LinkedIn.
It remains the primary platform where professional authority is vetted and where recruiters and executives actively search for solutions.
And days 3 through 5 are about planning your monetization opportunities.
Okay, explain this part.
This involves mapping out how your expertise can generate value in different formats, perhaps through consulting, speaking engagements, or digital products.
Now, even if your sole goal is to land a traditional W-2 corporate job, this mindset is crucial.
Why is that?
Because you need to view yourself not as a dependent employee, but as an independent service provider, and your employer is simply your largest current client.
That shifts the power dynamic.
It does. It shifts your posture from asking for a job to offering a solution.
Finally, days 6 and 7. Systemize your expertise. This means taking your knowledge and packaging it into repeatable frameworks or methodologies that exist independently of your current employer.
This is where you create true leverage. If you have a specific framework for auditing data quality, you name it, you document it, and you share it publicly.
You essentially build a brand engine.
Exactly. An engine that continues to establish your authority regardless of your employment status. When you position your expertise strategically in public, you transition from being a candidate hoping for an interview to an authority being sought out for your insights.
Because employers gravitate toward individuals who have a public track record of solving complex problems. It de-risks the hiring decision for them.
Completely.
But this leads to a fascinating fork in the road. What if you build that systemized expertise, you generate that leverage, and you realize you don't actually want to work for a massive enterprise?
The solo path.
Right. That brings us to our final source, which looks at a radical alternative to the conventional job hunt, the economics of the solo founder. We're looking at an analysis of the one-person billion company and how AI is fundamentally reshaping startup economics.
This challenges the entire premise of building a career.
It really does.
It requires completely rethinking the traditional business model because the established Silicon Valley playbook has been consistent for decades.
Raise money, hire fast.
Right. You develop an idea, you raise a large seed round of venture capital, you hire a sizable team as quickly as possible to build the product, and then you burn capital to scale revenue fast enough to justify the massive payroll.
Headcount was always synonymous with growth.
But AI has inverted that equation entirely.
The article highlights a project called OpenClaw, which was built entirely by a single developer named Peter Steinberger.
Fascinating case study.
It generated a lot of discussion because it vividly demonstrated how AI serves as an operational multiplier. A solo founder today isn't actually working alone.
No, they are managing a fleet of AI assistants.
Exactly. AI tools are writing and refactoring the code. They're handling the Tier 1 customer support, they're generating the technical documentation, analyzing user metrics, and executing outbound marketing.
The output gap between one skilled individual utilizing AI and a traditional software team of 5 to 10 people, it's collapsed.
It's vanished.
And it's not solely due to AI either. The article also points to the rise of composable infrastructure.
What does that mean for the non-technical listener?
It means modern developers don't build peripheral systems from scratch anymore. They assemble them. You utilize external APIs for everything that isn't your core product.
Like using Stripe for payments.
Exactly. You plug in Stripe for billing, you use AWS or Vercel for hosting,
Yeah.
and you integrate Clerk or Auth for user authentication.
So you're just outsourcing the infrastructure.
Yes. This architecture allows a single person to dedicate all their bandwidth purely to solving the specific problem for their user.
So it begs the question the article poses. Is it actually possible for one person to build a billion-dollar SaaS company entirely solo?
The author remains pragmatic on this. Scaling a business to $100 million in annual recurring revenue as a solo operator would be exceptionally difficult.
Because of enterprise sales.
Right. When you start selling to large enterprise clients, you encounter heavy requirements for legal compliance, rigorous security audits, and complex months-long sales cycles. Those usually require dedicated human teams.
But the probability is no longer zero.
It's not zero anymore, and practically speaking, building a highly profitable 8-figure micro SaaS or an AI agent startup with a team of 2 or 3 people, that is absolutely happening right now.
The article cites Senja.io.
Yep.
It's a bootstrapped micro SaaS that helps creators collect testimonials. They reached $1 million in annual recurring revenue with a team of 2.
Because software has a near zero marginal cost of replication, the margins on these businesses are incredible.
Okay.
If your onboarding is self-serve and your operational bottlenecks are automated by AI,
Your revenue can scale exponentially without requiring a corresponding increase in headcount.
but here's why this solo founder framework is so relevant to you, the listener.
Even if they don't want to start a company.
Even if you have absolutely no desire to start your own company and you just want a highly secure corporate job,
Why does it matter?
because if you adopt this solo founder mentality, if you train yourself to design processes for maximum leverage before you design them for scale,
Right.
if you think in terms of automated systems rather than just throwing more human hours at a problem, and if you know how to effectively integrate external infrastructure,
You become the ultimate asset to any traditional employer.
exactly, you are effectively bringing the extreme efficiency of a hyper-lean startup into a corporate environment. The article states that leverage is the new capital.
Leverage is the new capital. I love that.
If you can consistently generate that kind of leverage for your employer, you make yourself indispensable.
Let's pull all of these threads together. The 2026 job hunt is a strategic, multi-dimensional process. To navigate it successfully, you need to understand the board.
First, target the specific technical roles.
Whether that's as a builder, a data wrangler, or a specialist. And understand the nuances of the required tech stack, especially the critical need for security and DevOps deployment skills.
Second, you have to exploit the enterprise skills gap. Recognize that companies are publicly confident but internally struggling with poor data quality.
And the inability to deploy AI safely while measuring real business ROI. Position yourself as the solution to their data governance issues and clearly connect your technical work to business outcomes.
Third, build an untouchable personal brand. In an environment flooded with synthetic content, human trust and clarity are your ultimate competitive advantages.
Package your expertise into systems that exist independently of any single employer.
And finally, embrace the concept of leverage. Whether you're building a microsauce on your own or bringing an automation-first mindset into a corporate role, your ability to multiply your output using AI is your most valuable professional asset.
To close out today's deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought to consider regarding where this is all heading. We've primarily discussed AI as a tool that you control,
Right.
but the sources, particularly the Digital Transformation Guide, highlight a major shift currently underway: the rise of agentic AI.
This is the next frontier.
These are autonomous AI agents designed to execute complex, multi-step workflows with minimal to zero human oversight. Gartner predicts that by the end of this year, over 75% of enterprises will have transitioned from piloting AI to fully operationalizing it.
This introduces a profound question for the trajectory of your career.
What happens when these agents take over?
Exactly. If these autonomous AI agents effectively become the new entry-level workforce, perfectly capable of handling routine data processing, initial coding, and basic analysis, what happens to the traditional structure of a corporate hierarchy?
Will your future career look less like executing tasks yourself and more like managing your own personal fleet of digital interns? We'll leave you to think about how you plan to manage your digital workforce in your next big career move. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.